Okay.
Clyde, Tommy, Ashley, Inside Carolina. What's it like putting Carolina gear back on?
It's been a bunch of fun. It's awful good to be back, and my wife and I drove in here, and I think I feel 10 years younger. Kind of reminiscing, and met my wife here, and some awful good memories, and being around younger people. You know, not 45-year-old quarterbacks, some younger folks. So maybe makes you feel a little bit younger again. Makes me feel a little bit younger. So a bunch of fun. Really neat. Just seems like yesterday. Seems like yesterday we were here as students, and it's been quite a journey. And now, whatever that is, a bunch of years later, 43 years later, 44 years later, awful special.
So why here? Why Mac? And why now?
Yeah, good question. One, it's my school. I love my school. Two is my wife's from Winston-Salem, and she's got some parents that are getting up in age, and so we really made a commitment to get her back closer to them. And I wasn't sure if retired is kind of a strong term, so I don't know that was ever an option, but knew I was going to do something. And Coach Brown asked me to come up, and we visited, and just a chance to get involved, and I think frankly, I love the place. I love what they're doing here. I've always wanted to work for Coach Brown. I've always admired Coach Brown since I was at East Tennessee State, and he was the head coach at Appalachian State. So I've always followed his work, always watched what he's done as a head coach, and always admired what he's done. And so a chance to just kind of be a part of that, and was special to get a chance. And we'll kind of figure out what level of commitment, what level of, it'll be full commitment, but what level of time and stuff that is. We're going to go hard through this spring and then sit down and talk and figure it out.
Clyde, Michael Code, WCHL, chapelboro.com. You were obviously pretty busy last season, but what were you able to see of Drake May in his first season as a starter?
Yeah, one of the fun things in the NFL is you always wear your gear, and you represent on that Saturday night meeting. So I watched a bunch of them. I watched a bunch of the Tar Heels, and talked a little bit of junk and within that quarterback room, and just admired his toughness. I'd come up a lot of times to see. We have some grandkids in town here in Durham, and we have Deb's folks, so we come to North Carolina a lot. And so I've been out the last couple spring practices for at least a couple days. So I'd watched them and met them and knew them, and they'd let me sit in the quarterback room a few times and visit with the team a few times. So it wasn't like I was not familiar with them. So it was fun to watch him, fun to finally watch him. Knew he was going to be a good player, just watching him even when he was a backup to Sam. But just a talented guy. Knew his dad, coached his dad down at the Gus Purcell quarterback school back in the day. You guys probably aren't, anyone remember that one? But down in Charlotte, the Gus Purcell quarterback school was every coach and every quarterback in the South came through there. And so had his dad when his dad was in high school. So old man. But love how he plays, love his toughness, and now just kind of sitting in these meetings and kind of being a fly on the wall, just a bright, sharp kid, and really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to, kind of even getting to know him better and getting to know his football better.
Ross Martin, Inside Carolina. What do you like about his game? What stands out? I mean, you coach some of the best quarterbacks that exist in the world.
What about Drake's game kind of stands out to you?
Yeah, I think it stands out how smart he plays, that he's athletic. He has a little bit of Andrew Luck in him, just that he's a deceivingly good athlete, and can pull the ball down and run, can make all the throws. He's a big guy. You don't see a ton of just quarterbacks kind of in a pro style, and he's one of them that really can sit in the pocket or get outside the pocket. So I've enjoyed him. I like his humility. I think all the great ones I've been around all have a level of humility that you wouldn't expect. But the guys that I've had good fortune to be around have all had a humility about them, and I think he carries himself with a humility that's attractive and it warrants being a good leader and people following you.
C.L. Brown with the Raleigh News and Observer. What's the quality that you feel like Drake has that will translate best to the league?
I think probably just his seeing the whole picture. He knows what's going on out there. He knows it before, he knows it after, he knows what's going on, and probably, you know, just having a Pentium processor that moves fast enough for football, you know, and it'll step up one more notch in the NFL. Probably just things move even a little bit faster, but just he has that processing ability that he can do it quickly. I think he'll, you know, you know, and that would probably be the trait that I would say the good ones, the really good ones have, just that they can process information and what's going on around them really fast. And he seems to be able to do that.
Clyde, what is it, reading up on you, it seems like you've had a great relationship with Peyton and Tom Brady and those guys. What has their reaction been to you sort of getting out of the NFL game and moving into this
Yeah,
where we are now? Have they given you a hard time about it? Like, you know,
No, I think they've both been excited for me, and you know, wasn't sure. You know, yeah, I think they've been excited about it, and you know, it's a relational business. Like for me, it's all about the relationships, and those guys, you know, they're the trait they have, they're for you. You know, they're for you. Whatever Clyde Christensen, just like I've tried to be for them. Whatever endeavor they take up, I'm for them. I'm with them. They know that I got their back and that I'm going to support them as best I can in anything that they attempt to do, especially the marriage and being a dad and being a good man in a community and having an impact on making football better, making coaching better, making men better, you know, and all those things at the highest point. But I think they've been excited. I think they've been curious if I mean it, you know. I think you know, probably, you know, I've teased Brady a lot. I lasted in retirement longer than he did, so by at least a couple hours. But you know, I think probably like Brady, I think everyone, you know, I think probably they are. You know, is this real? Is it going to last? Is it for 3 days? Is it for spring practice? Is it for a year? Is it forever? You know, and all those things are in God's hands, and we'll figure it out as we go and see what He's got for me to do. But right now it's here, and I'm excited about it, and couldn't be more excited about it.
You think we can get Tom or Peyton in Keene Stadium this fall?
I believe we can. I believe we can. I think I've bragged on this place an awful lot to those guys. They're probably sick of hearing about Carolina, but I think we can. They like I said, I just great relationships, great friendships, and pretty neat blessing to have been a part of. You know, a bunch of guys. Those are the two highest profile guys, obviously, but there's been just good men all along the way. Good players, good men, which, you know, special when you get a chance to be around. You know, there's a lot of good players who maybe aren't quite as good of men. There's a lot of good men who aren't that good of players, but those guys happen to be both sides of the equation, which is pretty darn special.
Going from coaching guys like that, especially at the NCAA allows you on the field to be more hands-on with some of these kids, is there an element of excitement for you?
Yeah, there's always.
Coach these guys that are a little bit rawer and greener?
Yeah, you know, I've never looked at it any, you know, just coaching's coaching. You know, if you got a chance to improve somebody, and whether it's a high school kid or a junior high kid at camp, or it's, you know, Tom Brady who's 44 years old when we get him, you know, that there's just something to figuring out how do we get them better, how do we have a relationship with them, how do we improve them, how do we encourage them as men, you know, like I think, and it's never really meant. Never really, everyone asks the difference, and there really hasn't been a difference for me, whether it's Holy Cross or whether it's, you know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or whether it's Carolina Tar Heel. You know, it's just coaching. Coaching's coaching, and you just look for a way to get involved in their lives and let them know you care about them, and let them know that, hey, we're going to develop together a plan to get you better, and then go try and execute that. So that's always been the challenge. It hasn't ever felt like one level's higher than another level. It's just coaching. It's just football, and it's just coaching.
What's the process of developing that plan when you've got somebody like Tom Brady, who's one
Yeah.
probably the best ever,
Yeah.
versus a college kid or a less
Yeah.
kid? How do you develop a plan to make them better?
Yeah, obviously Tom is a unique thing because he was 44. He'd been an MVP. You know, Tom and Peyton were both mature guys who had won MVPs, had won Super Bowls. You know, and now you're looking for kind of a, you know, how do we improve 1%? What are a couple little areas we could improve 1 or 2%, you know, whereas I think college kids, sometimes you get them as a freshman, you get them, you know, some of the young guys in that quarterback room, you know, you can see 50% improvement, you can see, you know, 100% improvement. Their bodies are going to change, they're going to mature, everything's going to change about them, whereas those older guys, but the great ones I've been around all had some traits that they wanted to be coached, and they wanted to be coached hard, you know, like that, which is a misnomer amongst people, that they wouldn't want to be. That those guys are driven, and they want to know, hey, how do I get better? How do I get better? And they work at everything they do, whether it's center quarterback exchange or their cadence or drawing someone off sides. And, you know, they're just little areas that you can identify and then just develop a plan. Hey, here's a couple of things. Tom was always concerned about his feet, you know, making sure his feet were quick in the pocket. So everything we did, you know, had an element of twitch to it in the pocket, you know, and, you know, so you know, you just kind of sit down, you watch the film, you propose some things. I've always thought it's a partnership, a two-way communication between the player and the coach, and I'll usually say, here's what I see, here's a couple areas I think we could improve. Sometimes they'll have more, sometimes they'll disagree. Usually we'll get on the same page and say, okay, and then here's how I see us fixing it, here's how I see us improving that, and that's kind of just how I've always seen coaching, and whether it's a 45-year-old or a 18-year-old, just I've always approached it exactly the same way.
I asked Coach Brown this, but how do you kind of see your role?
Yeah.
What do you kind of see it doing? Going to be in the room there with Chip Lindsey, helping him? Are you going to be more active with the players? Like, how do you kind of see it?
Yeah,
going?
Coach Lindsey's been phenomenal to me, and just let me be involved. And you know, I'm limited by the rules, so I think right now, you know, number one is I'm having to learn all the new rules. I told my wife last night, I feel like I'm coaching a different sport. The field's completely different. The splits are completely different. The tempo's completely different. You know, everything's like a new ball game for me, and which has been kind of fun. But you know, I don't know any of the plays yet. I don't know how far it is from the far hash to. I know one thing. It looks like a long throw out there to that from that far hash that I haven't seen for a long time. But you know, so it's all been a learning thing, and so I think more just eyes on things right now, and more than I don't have much to contribute because I don't know it well enough to contribute. But hopefully there will be a point where I can kick in and help somewhat. But you know, for me, it's been more just eyes on. Hey, here's some things I see. Here's here, you know, and but for the most part, I've tried to just stay in the background, keep my mouth shut, my ears and eyes open, and try and learn and just try and see if there is something that I can contribute and help with.
It'll be very quarterback focused. I'm assuming.
I think so. I think it'll be offensive, but it'll be, you know, just helping Coach Lindsey as best I can wherever he needs it, whatever that is. I would think it is, and again, you know, by rule you can't do much coaching you can't do any coaching on the field right now. So it is more eyes on, and then meetings and just notes and again observations that maybe that we've learned down through the years. So it'll be interesting. It's fluid and to be, you know, figure it out as we go. To be figured out as we go. So I think the rules could change here soon, and so we'll figure it out. But it's right now they've just been great. They've just let me in. They've given me access to everything, and given me a chance to be a part of something pretty cool.
Clyde, go to Michael and finish up with that.
Okay, sorry.
Clyde, what did you know about Chip Lindsey before you took this job?
Never met him. I knew him by reputation. One thing is I haven't stayed as much up on the college game. Really I follow the heels just so I can throw some digs at the quarterback meetings and stuff, but really haven't followed it quite as much. And so I didn't know much, but I've been unbelievably impressed with him. He's been a bunch of fun to be around. And again, like I said, it's learning a new philosophy, a whole new way that is kind of college football now. But for me it's new, and we've been unique in that we've had kind of pocket guys all through. I haven't been at the Philadelphia or the Baltimore where they've kind of done incorporated some of the college things. We've had more of a pocket passer, and so I didn't know much. I didn't know much about him. I checked on him for a couple people. He had such a good reputation, and then I've really enjoyed meeting him and his family, and just a kind, good man who's a good football coach. So.
Clyde, is it true that you lived with Lawrence Taylor when you were here?
Here we go.
That always was the eyebrow raiser in the NFL.
Raised mine,
Yeah, no, that's a fact. It was Stevie Streeter and Lawrence LT, and then you were in suites at that time. It was over in Airing House there, and which is still standing and hopefully air conditioned by now. But we all lived in there, yeah. And so LT Lawrence has been a he's always been a loyal guy and a loyal friend. And but I did, yeah, for a couple of years there. We lived with him. I was a transfer in the mid-year, and so, that's right, and so, but yeah, and I'd run into him in Miami there every once in a while. You always knew it was him. You hear him heckling from the sideline. I'd be throwing warm-ups or throwing with the quarterbacks, and you'd always hear something, probably a little racier language. But the essence of it was you stunk then and you still stink now. So with a few more explicatives mixed in with it. But always loved seeing him, always loved running into him, and always valued his friendship. Really loyal guy.
Just to follow up real
Yeah.
quick, because it seems so interesting when you're talking about the Saturday meetings with the quarterbacks. So, for instance, you could roll into a meeting on Saturday and Andrew Luck's got on his Stanford stuff, or Peyton's got on his Tennessee stuff, or Brady's got on his Michigan stuff, and you're going in there with Baby Blue and Tar Heels?
Absolutely. Almost everyone, and it was always fun. It was as much fun to win, and it was equally as much fun to watch the other guys lose. Watch Michigan get beat, or Tennessee, and so yeah. But that's one of the fun things, and you usually will have a friendly wager on the thing, and so yeah, that's one of the fun things on Saturday, where things are relaxed and your week's winding down, and then you got those college games on. So that's always one of the highlights when you come in. You always see someone who lost having to wear someone else's shirt or jersey or something, and if they've gotten beat by one of their teammates or one of the coaches guys. So that was always one of the fun things.
All right.
Good, great to meet you guys. Appreciate everything.
Thank you.